Welcome to the W. I'm Tyler Hawkins.
And I'm Patrick Hickey. In this episode, we focus on podcasting. The word podcast is a combination of the words pod and broadcast. Podcasts are described as an on-demand internet radio talks. These tracks are typically audio recordings of a conversation between a host and a guest speaker. Just like the ones you can listen on the radio or a single monologue of a person sharing his or her thoughts, the broadcast classes have created the following podcasts, which will be submitted to National Public Radio or NPR for their Student Podcast Challenge. Hopefully, one of our podcasts will win their grand prize and have their work appear on NPR.
First up is a podcast about controversies in sports with hosts Justin Avella, John McCarty, and Nick Veltri, who discuss the people involved in controversies and the effects they had on the MLB, NFL, NBA, and even the college sports world. Despite the fact that many of these are terrible controversies, they do not represent the entire sport.
Hi, I'm Justin Avella along with Nicky Veltri and John McCarty, and welcome to the inaugural podcast of Crush and the Boys. Today we will be discussing professional sports and some of the most famous controversies revolving around them. Our first topic of the day is the Black Sox scandal. This is a Major League Baseball scandal that surrounded Shoeless Joe Jackson and 7 other players on the 1919 World Series White Sox teams. Gamblers fixed the World Series and got number of players in the team involved. Some agreed to go along with it because they did not think they were paid enough. Baseball players back then made about $2,500 and they were offered $5,000 to rig the series. It eventually came out that they did this and they faced the consequences. All 8 of them were banned for life, and a movie came out about them called 8 Men Out. A lot of people think this might not actually be a scandal because Shoeless Joe Jackson has had one of the best batting averages in the history of a World Series. He batted 3-something. That's about it for the Black Sox scandal. I'm going to move on to Nicky, talking a little bit about O.J. Simpson.
Thank you, Justin. Now we're going to talk about O.J. Simpson and the murder scandal that has ruined his legacy and changed his life forever. O.J. Simpson played college football at USC and then was later drafted by the Buffalo Bills in 1969. He was traded to the San Francisco 49ers and then retired from the NFL and began his acting career, where he met the Kardashians and several other famous people. In 1994, he was accused of murdering his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman. In 1995, he was acquitted of both murders because the evidence against him was not strong enough. And then 2007, he was convicted of robbing a sports memorabilia shop, then went to jail, and he was released on October 1st of 2017. Now I'm going to hand the mic over to John McCarty.
Next, we talk about the Malice at the Palace, the fight that rocked the NBA. Ron Artest started a fight during a basketball game between the Indiana Pacers and the Detroit Pistons by committing a hard foul against one of the Pistons players. This began a bench-clearing brawl because some of the players took exception to the foul that Mr. Artest committed. Eventually, the fight broke out in the stands, and fans threw beers and sodas and food all over the court and at the players, and the players didn't like this very much. So Ron Artest went up into the stands and attacked one of the fans that threw something at him because he was heated. It was in the heat of the moment. Obviously, it wasn't a very good idea, but he did it anyway. More players went up to defend him and to break it up, and a huge fight ensued as other fans got involved and started attacking other players. Obviously, there were multiple ejections, fines, and suspensions, but this still bothers Artest to this day because he's regretful of what he did and how he reacted, and he just doesn't like talking about it in interviews, and it's still talked about all over, and clips are shown of it whenever there's any kind of fight in the NBA that's like big or anything, just to like show an example of what not to do. And our next topic is going to Justin with the Deflategate in the NFL.
Our next topic is Deflategate and the NFL's investigation into the New England Patriots. In 2015, the New England Patriots played the Indianapolis Colts in a playoff game. The Patriots won 45-7, but the victory did not come with controversy. It was later figured out that for the whole entire first half, 9 of the 12 Patriots footballs were underinflated, and at that point, the Patriots were up 28-7 at halftime. Many fans pointed out during the game that one of the punts, it seemed like the Patriots were using deflated balls. Many people thought that Tom Brady would preference a deflated ball, which would give him a better grip in the cold weather. The NFL did an investigation into this, and it was a long, drawn-out process over about 2 years, with it ended up going to Supreme Court, and the NFL ended up winning finally, which ended up causing Tom Brady to be suspended for the first 4 games of the season. The Patriots were fined. They were stripped of a first-round pick. Many Patriots fans were outraged by this and found it unfair that he was suspended because there wasn't any clear evidence. There was a whole thing about him destroying his phone, getting rid of evidence, but nothing was seriously found in the Wells report that the NFL did. This isn't really that big of a controversy anymore. A lot of people that played on the Indianapolis Colts debunked this whole thing, saying that even if they played with a beach ball, they would have lost because it was just so lopsided. On to Nicky with another Patriots controversy surrounding Aaron Hernandez, ex-tight end.
For our final topic is the murder of Odin Lloyd. Former NFL star Aaron Hernandez had his career cut short after he was suspected of murdering his former friend Odin Lloyd. There was a great amount of evidence that proved that Hernandez was guilty of this crime. In October of 2013, Hernandez and 2 others were convicted of murdering Odin Lloyd. Shortly after his conviction, Hernandez hung himself in his cell. There were many rumors surrounding why he committed suicide, but many believed that he was having an affair with another man outside of prison. And it was also rumored that because he died during his contract with the New England Patriots, his daughter would receive the money from his contract. And that's all for Crushing the Boys on this podcast.
Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. We really enjoyed making this. It was a lot of fun doing the research and coming up with these ideas. Yeah, that's really it.
Crushing the Boys.
Peace out from Crushing the Boys.
That's all this week, folks, on Crushing the Boys. I'm Justin Avella along with Nicky and John, and we will see you next week.
In the next podcast, James Stutz, Tyler Hawkins, and I reflect on the blockbuster deal between the Knicks and Mavericks that sent Kristaps Porzingis to the Mavericks and Dennis Smith Jr. to the Knicks. We will discuss whether or not this trade will put the Knicks in a better place in the foreseeable future and the state of the NBA now that the trade is final.
Good morning. Welcome to the W Podcast. We're here with James Stutz, Patrick Hickey. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
Doing pretty swell.
That's amazing. They're doing great. All right, so this week we'll be talking about the trade the Knicks just made. On January 31st of this year, the Knicks broke the sports headlines when releasing information on Kristaps Porzingis' discontent with the Knicks organization and the direction they were going. Less than a couple hours later, Porzingis, the leading superstar involved in the deal, was on his way to the Dallas Mavericks, along with the shooting guards Tim Hardaway Jr., Courtney Lee, and point guard Trey Burke. In return, the Knicks received a hopeful future star in the 21-year-old point guard Dennis Smith Jr. The Knicks, along with Dennis Smith Jr., received former Defensive Player of the Year DeAndre Jordan and shooting guard Wesley Matthews. To round the deal off, the Knicks also received a 2021 unprotected first-round pick as well as 2023 top 10 protected pick from the Mavericks. Lastly, this deal gave the Knicks enough cap space to sign 2 max contract players in the loaded 2019 free agency, headlined by the one and only Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, who have been linked to joining the Knicks since the beginning of the season.
In the Mavericks' eyes, getting a caliber player such as Kristaps Porzingis is almost viewed as a no-brainer deal, but took some risk as Porzingis is still recovering from an ACL tear on February 6, 2018. With star rookie point forward Luka Doncic is emerging as a Class A talent, Dennis Smith Jr. has slotted himself out of the lineup as he is a ball-dominant point guard that needs the ball in his hands to run an offense. Shooting guards Tim Hardaway Jr. and Courtney Lee can be valuable 3-and-D assets to be around such a talented playmaker like Luka. Burke, who is also involved in this deal, will see minimal minutes but will look to see if he can make an impact as soon as possible.
But what led Porzingis to wanting out of the Knicks? One of the worst front offices in all of sports and the team owner from hell, James Dolan. Since Dolan purchased the Knicks in 1994, the Knicks have reached the NBA Finals just one time in 1999 and have had 15 losing seasons up to the 2018-2019 season, which sees the Knicks with a abysmal 10-14 record midway through the season. In addition to the countless losing seasons, Porzingis hasn't been given the right setting for him to strive in New York, as they have had 4 different coaches in the 4 years Porzingis has been with the team.
All right. So now that the trade is final, what are your takeaways from this deal?
I think this trade can go one of two ways. The Knicks hit it big this free agency, and they sign whoever they plan to sign, whether it's Durant or Kyrie. Jimmy Butler's a free agent, although I really don't want him on the Knicks. Klay Thompson, although I think he'll go back. I think that if the Knicks do get the marquee free agent, we'll be in a better place than we are this season. That's for sure. Porzingis was injured, and he didn't want in on our team, and you wouldn't want somebody who's supposed to be your best player not interested in playing for you guys. So I think it could be a good trade for the Knicks in the near future, as well as the Mavericks. Pairing Doncic with Porzingis is one of the best young core of players I've seen in the recent NBA. I've watched NBA for the past maybe 6-7 years, and I think Doncic and Porzingis have 2 of the best upsides out of any player I've seen. And it's going to be really interesting to watch them play the next couple of years. What about you, Patrick? What are your thoughts on this deal?
I just seem to have to agree, Phil Jackson finally drafted that one guy, which he tended to not do, as he drafted a lot of mistakes and such, Frank Ntilikina. And we finally got this one cornerstone to build around, and we unloaded him before we could even see how healthy he could be when he comes back. And to have a guy like him traded for such low-tier talent that we could have drafted in the draft if we really wanted to, instead of drafting Ntilikina, I think that was the biggest mistake. I know there was a lot of tension between Porzingis and the Knicks franchise itself, so I think the trade was decent enough, but I don't think we got enough value out of Porzingis specifically. I think the Mavericks are going to win this in the future. He's a restricted free agent. He's going to sign to a big deal, 4 to 5 years probably. He's going to be a cornerstone with Doncic. We're going to see another Nash and Dirk, and they won't make the mistake by trading Nash this time. They have them both locked down for future history, and we're going to see some of the best European players ball out.
Honestly, I'm trying to be optimistic with this trade. I'm a huge Knicks fan, and it really kills me when they're 10-40, and they've only gotten worse. I'm pretty sure they lost 15 straight going up till last night, which is just shouldn't happen in New York, especially with the Knicks. And I know their roster isn't where it should be, but after this trade, I think we need to make a better statement to these free agents. We need to keep playing better and show that we have promise for next season, and that if a Kevin Durant kind of guy or Kyrie Irving does sign with us, that we will win. And that's really all that these free agents want. They want to win, and they want to win now because they're getting older, and as time goes on, your chance to win gets increasingly smaller. I think it's vital that we do get these free agents, because if we don't, and we do trade Porzingis, and we don't have any big name players to back us up for it, I think the backlash from the city of New York and on the front office will just be overwhelming, and I think it'll just put the Knicks in a bad situation. James Dolan is an idiot. He has run this team into the dirt. He has brought us to, I thought, unthinkable levels, but 15 losing seasons in 1994, that is disgusting. I think he should be ashamed of what he's done, and the fans have all the right to be mad with all the decisions he's made as an owner and a part of the front office.
Yeah, to add on to that, James Dolan has led this team into shambles ever since 1994 when he bought the team. We've been to one finals in 1999, and that's the only playoff experience really besides 2011 that we've really seen true competition. And to be honest, I really don't think any free agents are going to be signing with the Knicks while he's still an owner. It's just too much controversy. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he just leads this team, and he just hides behind Phil Jackson like he did before. Finally, we got rid of him, but he just likes to hide behind people who think they know what they're doing, but they really don't. I think the Knicks really took a big gamble, and let's pray it works out for both teams, but all I'm going to say is I think in 2023, the Mavericks are going to be title contenders, and we're going to see the worst out of both Porzingis and Doncic. They're going to dominate this league.
Thanks for tuning into this podcast. We had a great conversation with the Knicks and the Mavericks and the trade that just recently happened. We'll see how it pans out over the next season, couple of seasons. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Self-love is an insight at two teenagers' point of view on self-love, how their experiences leading up to their present-day life have affected the way that they thought about themselves. In this podcast, Alice Wolford talks about what it means to have self-love, the impact of friendships, and what we can do as humans to make self-love a reality for people with low self-esteem.
As humans, our emotions and feelings fluctuate as we experience life. From traumatic events to times of hurt, these instances of emotional pain can be dangerous when we can't deal with them as well as we'd like to. They start to influence our thoughts and feelings about ourselves. Self-love is an unconditional feeling of love, appreciation, and acceptance for yourself. That means that no matter what you do or what you experience, you always love yourself with the same strength. A lack of self-love is when someone feels less of themselves, when someone doesn't have a strong regard for their well-being or happiness. And a lack of self-love can be caused by a lot of things. For example, the recent growth of social media. It has sponsored beautiful, unrealistic women and handsome, unrealistic men to gain insane popularity. To people who are insecure and vulnerable, like young kids and teens, social media has made it way easier for them to compare themselves to these absurd realities. A young girl might see 500,000 likes on a photo of a woman in a bikini and think to herself that that image represents beauty based off her millions of followers and thousands of comments. A young boy might see 250,000 likes on a photo of a man with a defined, built body and think to himself that that man must be the idea of perfection based on the amount of likes and followers he has. A lot of self-loathing can also be caused by a change in mental or physical health, bullying, unsupportive family or friends, and traumatic events. Of course, a lack of self-love can also occur in waves. Maybe for a period of a couple days or a week or two, self-esteem can drop, but we don't develop a lifestyle of hate towards ourselves. The reasons for self-loathing or self-love can differentiate according to an individual. I wanted to interview some high schoolers to find out what experiences and events contributed to the way that they developed, and to get a better idea of what loving yourself really means. I'm here with James Sirico and Dean Kapika.
Hello.
Two of Westlake High School's finest seniors. I want you to tell me about your experiences in high school and how they affected your opinion of yourself.
In the 8th grade, I had a really high friend group and everything, and that kind of fell apart and everything. I don't need to get into the details. That's not important. But in 9th grade, I met someone, and that kind of flourished into the relationships that I have with a lot of people now. And it just made me the person I am today. And I just started to realize that, like, I have, like, all these friends now and everything, and, like, it just made me a happy and better person. And sometimes I have my dumb moments, of course, like everyone does.
Who doesn't?
But for the most part, I'm happy with where I am, and if I had never met the people I met in ninth grade, I don't think I would be the person I am today.
Well, yeah, it's really good. I had my fair share of ups and downs in middle school. I didn't really know that many people, but I knew everyone. You know what I mean? Like I was always busy working, and that was when I really started acting. So I didn't ever build a really close relationship with anyone or friendship, but I knew everyone. Everyone knew me as the funny kid, but I had my fair share of social issues. I didn't really know how to connect well to people. I wasn't the most talkative kid in school because I didn't know any of my own classmates. And then freshman year rolls along. Pretty much the end of 8th grade into freshman year, I met this friend who introduced me to another friend and another friend. And I built a core group that I have been friends with since high school, all throughout high school.
What does being a good friend mean to you?
Being a good friend is being reasonable, loyal, truthful, and all around just good company to be with.
When you started high school, did you ever actively seek out people to become friends with, or did you let your relationships happen in a natural manner?
I let my relationships just happen in a natural manner. I already had a pretty big a nice core base group, and after that it was just branching off to people that I would see in the halls and talk to occasionally, and if they were nice, chill, comfortable people, then I would hang out.
I never really forced any relationship with my friends and everything. I kind of just let it all flow naturally.
It's not even a friendship, really, if you were to force it. It's just too fast. It's weird if you do that, I feel.
I definitely agree. And to add on to Alice's question, I really look into loyalty with someone. I strive heavily on loyalty. I really like someone who I could be honest with, and they could be honest with me. And, if anything ever happens, I know I could, rely on that person, I really... That's a trait I really admire about people, and I try to look into people.
Would you say that you really inspire people to be the best that they can be?
I don't know. That's a hard question, because I think people are gonna be people. Honestly, on how I act and what I do doesn't really influence them. I think at the end of the day, it's your choice, and it's your life to live. If you want to do something, stupid and dumb, that's at the end, that's your choice. Don't get me wrong. The people you're around, you might get that certain reputation, or they might influence you to do bad or good things. But at the end of the day, I think it's really just you, and you can't really blame anyone besides yourself.
It's true. Every morning, I think that we have the choice of whether we can wake up and put a smile on our face no matter what's happening, or we could wake up and just live a life in sadness and stuff and depression. So I think that a lot of self-love, that is your choice. You have the choice to embrace all of your good qualities no matter what. And people who don't, it's really sad.
You're definitely going to have people who are going to try to drag you down and everything. And it's not, I don't think anyone maliciously means it. Sometimes people do, but it's very rare. But I think you just got to do your own thing, and you can't really worry about it.
Yeah, life is just so complicated, and there's too many questions to be asked about what's going to happen in the future, what's going to happen after death, what's going to happen if this person doesn't become my friend, what's going to happen if this girl doesn't like me. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the only person you have to worry about is you. You're sleeping with yourself. You wake up in your body, you go to sleep in your body, you eat in your body. You need to be comfortable in your body.
I'd like to thank James Sirico and Dean Kapika for really opening up and sharing their stories with us. I hope that everyone has learned that self-love is a choice. Self-love is something that you can be a part of, and I hope that everyone here decides to embrace it. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.
Next up, Sydney Rell and Miguel Caterino talk about how making healthy dietary decisions have affected almost everyone. Not everyone's diet is healthy, and all people go on diets to lose weight. What is healthy and what is unhealthy, and what determines what you eat? For good health, it's recommended that we eat plenty of plant foods such as fruit, vegetables, bread, and other grain-based foods. It is important to change the way you eat in your early life because it is harder to change your habits later on in life.
Hi, I'm Sydney Rell.
And I'm Miguel Caterino, and this is The W. Today we'll be discussing healthy decisions when it comes to food.
What is healthy? What is unhealthy? Who determines what you eat? Are all diets actually healthy?
For good health, it's recommended that we eat plenty of plant foods such as fruit, vegetables, bread, and other grain-based foods.
Moderate amounts of animal foods such as lean meat, reduced fat dairy products, chicken, fish, and eggs, and very small amounts or none at all fatty, high sugar extra foods such as lollipops, chocolate, soft drinks, cakes, sweet biscuits, pies, sausage rolls, and sugary drinks.
And how about fast foods, Sid?
Between 2013 and 2016, about 37% of U.S. adults consumed fast food on any given day.
That means approximately 84.8 million adults consume fast food. When consuming fast food, you increase your risk of obesity. Fast food is extremely high in calories and provides little nutrition value.
Miguel, who makes the decisions on what you eat, yourself or your parents? For me, my mom makes most of the decisions because she cooks for most meals and wants my family and I to feel good and eat healthy.
Personally, I make the decisions on what I eat. My parents want to prepare me for life when I have to be making healthy decisions for myself. We took the time to talk to Westlake High School sophomore Lauren Nucci on who decides what they eat.
So who decides what you consume on a daily basis and why?
I decide what I eat because my parents want me to be responsible when I go to college and when I'm on my own.
Eating healthy is so beneficial, especially if it is combined with physical activity, because your diet can help you reach and maintain a healthy weight, reduce your risk of chronic diseases like heart disease and cancer, and it promotes your overall health. But are all diets healthy? There are so many diets between paleo, keto, gluten-free, Atkins, South Beach, the list goes on. While it is tempting to try one out, you should do some research first. There are some misleading claims. A great example is how so many people believe juice cleanses are very detoxing and will clean your body out, but the juice cleanse really isn't necessary. Your body has the proper organs and enzymes to do it themselves. You can clean out and detox your body without the juice, which in fact is really a ton of sugar, regardless of the vitamins and minerals. So if you're looking for a cleanse, do it the right way, by cutting out alcohol, sugar, dairy, and drink a ton of water. Doing this for a week should be enough to clean out your system.
There are some pros to diets, though, like the DASH diet, for example. DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. The DASH diet is a lifelong approach to healthy eating that's designed to help treat or prevent high blood pressure. The DASH diet encourages you to reduce sodium in your diet and eat a variety of foods that are rich in nutrients such as potassium, calcium, and magnesium that help lower blood pressure.
We brought in Westlake High School health teacher Miss Kaufman with her opinion on dieting.
So we know not every diet is necessarily great for us. What experience have you had dieting? What is a good experience? Do you think you accomplished your goal in beginning this diet?
Well, diet is a misunderstood word in our society, in our culture. Everybody's on a diet. Whether you're choosing to be on a weight gain diet or a weight loss diet or some type of special diet because you have a medical condition, diet is something that everybody does, no matter who you are. It's your eating patterns. So, yes, I have had many experiences with especially weight loss diets in my life. Being a very active person, I could never understand why weight was an issue for me. And what's sometimes people don't understand is it can be a combination of not only genetics, but certainly behaviors. And I take ownership of all my behaviors. But when I was younger, I must have triggered some gene or some type of predisposition that makes it very difficult for me to actually lose weight. So I've struggled with this issue my whole life. It doesn't mean I don't eat healthfully. I do. I make a very good point of trying to eat balanced meals and get all the nutrients and also work out. So Sometimes you can't tell what's going on the inside by looking at someone on the outside. Just because somebody is thin doesn't mean that they are healthy or fit on the inside, and we see that all the time, and vice versa. So I get concerned for people when they say they're going on a weight loss diet and they think they're going to lose 5 or 10 pounds. The question is then, how are you going to maintain that? Because if it's not, eating patterns shouldn't be temporary, they should be healthful for the rest of your life. And the habits that a lot of people have, if they just change them temporarily, are not going to help them over the long run.
And there you have it. Healthy eating and living is super important for one's health, so it is essential that you pay attention to what you're eating and how much you're eating. That's all for today. I'm Sydney Rowe.
And I'm Miguel Catarino, and this is the W.
Dean Kapika, James Sirico, and Tom Rubino discuss how social media has affected how we communicate with people, how we entertain ourselves, and it caters to what's important economically and socially. But has social media affected the new generation positively or negatively?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lunch Break. I'm Dean Kapika.
And I'm James Sirico.
Now let's get to the main question. How social media has affected kids now and in the past?
Our generation has succumbed to the expectation of 24/7 social media coverage. The question is whether or not social media affects us negatively or positively.
Well, honestly, social media has changed so much throughout the years. Like reflecting back on social media in middle school, that was 100% different than social media now. Am I right?
I 100% agree with you. When we were in middle school, no social media was really popular except for like Kick, and Snapchat was kind of starting, and so was Instagram. But I think once we got into 8th grade, maybe 9th grade is really when things started to blow up, you know? And it's cool, but at the same time, it's a blessing and a curse, you know? Because it did so much for us, but also did, some bad things too.
No doubt, no doubt. Did you have Snapchat, Instagram, or anything like that in the 8th grade?
I had both, but I didn't really use them a lot, and I didn't post on them or anything, or I didn't really Snapchat anyone. And then when I got older, I think 9th grade is really when I started to be like, you know what, let's post something on my Instagram. Let's actually start Snapchatting a lot of people, and that's when I really started. I know a lot of other people though, started to really get into Instagram in 7th grade, 6th grade.
You know what the problem with it is though? It's the innocence of it. I feel like our generation was the last slightly innocent generation to use social media kind of appropriately in middle school.
I'm just curious, can you explain on that a little bit more?
Social media is filled with all of these crude, inappropriate memes. You can ruin your life with social media. You could send a picture that you're not comfortable with. You can nothing can be erased. You know what I mean? And with that comes a lot of responsibility that kids in middle school don't have. And the more social media you experience, the less innocence you have, in my opinion, which is what it's kind of ruining kids in a way.
I sort of agree with you, but recently with the new generation, I feel like we're on the brink of it's kind of hard to say, but political correctness. I feel like a lot of people in our generation and lower aren't really, sometimes we are politically correct, but at sometimes, because we weren't meant in that, social media area or era, so sometimes we're not really educated sometimes, but the new generation, they know their stuff, they want to say the right things and everything.
They know you say they have political correctness. I mean, most of them do, but on Instagram you got all of those extremely offensive, crude memes and all that, and people are so desensitized. The amount of
sensitive material that you could see on Instagram, like the stuff that says this contains sensitive material. If you want to see more, click here, and you click there, and it's like this horrible video of like a murder of chickens getting killed by a truck. You know what I mean? And like people are so desensitized to that. By the year 2000, around 100 million people had access to the internet, and it became quite common for people to be engaged socially online. Of course, then it was looked at as an odd hobby at best. Still, more and more people began to utilize chat rooms for making friends, dating, and discussing topics that they wanted to talk about. But the huge boom of social media was still to come.
Yeah, and I want to bring up the statistic with social media and what happened from 2008 to 2018. And recent discoveries of research and stuff, 70% of U.S. Americans use social media, and this has actually gone down a little bit, which I find actually strangely odd, because I thought like 97% of the population uses social media, you know? I thought everyone uses it.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of the older generations that didn't grow up with it or never adapted to it. Like, you got, like, our parents' generation. I feel like they're the ones that are using Facebook and stuff now. And the millennials are using Instagram and stuff. Back, our parents' generation. Some of them adapted to Facebook and learned how to use it and stuff like that. But I feel like my father does not have anything. Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, nothing. What about you?
My mom uses Facebook, and she has her own Instagram, but that's a joke. But other than that, no. Like you said, my dad actually finds it stupid. Like, why do you need to see what people are doing, and like, why do you need to be up on people's life? Sometimes my dad is interested in it, where like my mom will mention a name, and my dad's like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard that name forever. Like, how is he doing, or how is she doing? But other than that, my dad's like, it's useless. Honestly, you don't need it.
Well, you just brought up a pretty valid point. The importance of it is that you could stay in touch with people so easily that, like, people that you haven't seen in years, you could find out where they are, how they're doing. You could text them, they'll answer you, I think, hopefully, unless they don't like you. So, social media has definitely molded kids in different ways. My question to you is, do you think that it is positive or negative, more so?
It's a hard question to answer, but like you said, more so. So I'm going to say positive. I think social media really appeals to the new generation and everything. And people wanted this market, and people wanted all this entertainment, and, they wanted to be educated about themselves, and they wanted it about themselves, and the market just gave it to them, I don't think social media is this bad revolutionary idea. I think it's a new generation.
Well, I have to disagree with you. I think that social media is something that's extremely negative. I feel like it doesn't help kids in any way. It only goes against them. But yeah. Anyways, this has been Dean Kapika
and James Sirico
on another lunch break. Thank you.
In our next podcast, Sean Martin discusses the topic of social media privacy. He discusses some of the biggest issues with trying to keep our information private, as well as one of the biggest breaches of privacy, the shadow profile bug on Facebook in 2013.
Some people might think that online privacy is, a private matter. If you don't want your information getting out online, don't put it on social media. Simple, right? Hello, everybody. You're watching the official podcast, and I'm your host, Sean Martin. And today we're going to be talking about privacy on social media. An article from Pew Research Center says that about 7 in 10 American adults now report they use some kind of social media platform. 80% of social media users say that they were concerned about advertisers and businesses accessing data they share on social media platforms. Many people don't even realize that their privacy is at risk and how hard it is to maintain privacy, but keeping your information private isn't just about your own choices, it's about your friends' choices too. Your information can get out to companies and advertisers even if you didn't give out any of your information. These advertisers could get your personal information from your friends. When someone joins a social network, the first order of business is, of course, to find friends. To help you find your friends, many apps offer to import context lists from someone's phone or email or Facebook to find matches with people already in the network. Giving companies your contacts, you're not doing anything inherently wrong. You want to stay in touch with your friend, even through a social media site. However, this gives social media websites that information, even if your friend didn't want that information given out. Social media platforms are able to use this information to create what are called shadow profiles, a hidden profile that is created and used to recommend friends and new connections, and for social data analysis. Social media platforms' ability to collect this data into shadow profiles came to light in 2013 with a bug on Facebook. This bug shared the email addresses and phone numbers of roughly 6 million users with all their friends, even though that information isn't public. Facebook immediately addressed the bug, but afterwards some users noticed that the phone numbers on their Facebook profiles had still been filled in, even though they had not given Facebook their number. Instead, Facebook has collected numbers from the context list innocently provided by their friends and filled in the missing information there for them. Maintaining your privacy online is a very difficult thing to do, as companies can grab a hold of your information even if you never give it to them. This is Sean Martin, signing off.
Fast Food Podcast is a humorous and interesting description on fast food and how they're awful for you. In the podcast, Joe Agrusa asks his friend Greg Cafaro which is his favorite fast food place. He then gives Greg a total of 3 sandwiches: Subway, McDonald's, and Wendy's. McDonald's is the Big Mac, Wendy's is the Baconator, and for Subway, Italian herbs and cheese with turkey, American cheese, both types of shredded cheese, pickles, mayo, and hot sauce. At the end of the podcast, Greg puts those 3 sandwiches from greatest to least in taste, and they conclude with an explanation of which is the healthiest sandwich and which was the least.
Hi, Joe Ragusa here, reporting for the W. I'm with Greg Cafaro, and today we are looking at fast foods in the neighborhood. So, Greg, what is your favorite fast food in the neighborhood?
It's got to be McDonald's, 100%.
Okay. Well, from McDonald's, we have the Big Mac. Another place that's in our town is Wendy's. We got the Baconator, and we got Subway. We got the. What'd you get?
Ready? Turkey, cheese, pickles, with both types of grated cheese, with mayonnaise and mustard. Oh, did I mention pepperoni? I didn't. There's pepperoni in this thing. I wanted to get the Italian herbs.
I didn't get pepperoni. You didn't text that to me.
I swear to God I did.
No, you didn't. Check your text messages. So now I'm gonna interview Greg, and he's gonna take a bite of everything, and let's see what's his favorite. And I'm at the end gonna tell him what is the least healthy for you and what's the healthiest for you. So eat whatever you want to eat first.
I'm gonna go with the Subway sandwich.
Okay. How does it taste?
Oh my God. That tastes amazing.
Okay. All right. What do you want to try next?
I'll do the Baconator.
All right. So first, do a look test, smell test, and a taste test, and give it a best out of 10.
Well, it looks greasy as hell. Looks very greasy, and it's squishy. But we'll see how it tastes and smells. All right, here we go. Looks greasy, smells awful, tastes great. Wow. That was good.
And now the Big Mac from McDonald's.
How you doing, sweetheart?
How does it look?
It looks amazing. Like it actually looks like I'm gonna enjoy a nice bite of a Big Mac. As of now, all I'm smelling is the lettuce. It's got like a strong smell. But
It's understandable.
let's go for the money shot. Let's go for the taste. Oh. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Now, now I see you're going to struggle with this. You have to put them in order from greatest to least. So, what are we going to do? Put greatest on this side and your least favorite on this side. Cut it. What? All right. Okay, so now we have it from greatest to least. So the greatest is you put the Big Mac.
Absolutely.
What do you think about it?
I think it tastes great. Absolutely. Oh my God, it's wonderful. Just the amount of foods that they just put inside the Big Mac it's wonderful.
Okay. And you had Subway next.
Same thing. You know, it has a lot of ingredients inside that I love personally, and you know I've been eating it for years.
And the Baconator last.
Listen, I just want to throw this out there. Even though these are in, you know, taste order, like what I like, I would still like to say all these foods, amazing foods. One of my favorite foods, honestly. Just from greatest, from what I mostly like to what I like the most, the least, if you will.
What you like? Yeah, what you like least. I understand.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Now this is the portion where I tell you which is the healthiest and which.
I could probably do that myself.
Yeah, try to guess
All right.
which is the healthiest
From
and
the healthiest to
the least.
least. All right, ready? Healthiest.
This you might struggle with.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to say middle, then last.
You're wrong. This is worse.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Joe. I meant to say middle and last. I swear to God.
And you can even tell by the look of it. It's greasy. I don't even want to touch it. I don't even want to touch it.
I'm not gonna lie.
But I'm gonna touch it. Yeah. That's just not good. Not good. And I was looking at reviews. Subway, it is the least. Didn't find anything bad about it.
Really?
Couldn't find except rats. One worker did something inappropriate to a sandwich. Can't really say on the podcast, but he did.
Well, rats is no big deal because Westlake still has rats, and you know we're still standing strong. Like you know.
Probably gonna have to edit that out. As for McDonald's, there's always something for McDonald's, but nothing about the Big Mac. Mostly about their chicken.
Exactly, and this is a burger.
Like their chicken nuggets, not their actual.
See?
Baconator though.
Yeah, that's just filled with.
That's a heart attack.
Obesity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's alright.
But now, I know you're a big fan of Sal's Pizza.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do that.
All right. All right. I know you're a big fan of Sal's Pizza. I'm gonna ask two questions. One, do you consider it fast food?
No.
You don't consider it fast food?
I mean, when I'm there, they you know they make sure they get it out nice and quick. When I'm there.
I'm not even talking about fast as in it coming fast. I'm talking about junk food wise.
No, it's just pizza. It's the pizzeria. It's saying no. And you're basically just saying, well, even though Sal's Pizza is no regular pizzeria, but I'm just saying, the pizzeria is not fast
What's
food.
not regular about it?
What?
What's not regular about it? What's different from Thornwood Pizza?
My order every time is the buffalo chicken and the barbecue chicken. But the one thing that tops it all, the one ingredient that just blows every single food, place, anything, just out of there. is the house dressing. Oh my God. It is the most wonderful dressing. I consider it as food. I put it on everything. It's meant for the salad, okay? It's meant for the salad. I put it on my pizza, and it is just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Now you're going to hate me for this question. Do any of these fast food restaurants top Sal's Pizza?
No. And the pizza-wise?
McDonald's doesn't.
Hold on. Pizza-wise, like the pizza itself.
These places don't make pizza, Greg.
I'm saying Sal's Pizza itself, like just the pizza, would be equal to all these. The house dressing just gives it that edge. That's like the most important.
I can't say that I've never had it. I've never had it.
Yeah, well, you haven't been living. Straight up.
All right. Oh, this has been a great interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Joe Agusa, and this is
Greg Fara.
Back to you in the studio.
Podcasts were fun and interesting, but presented a greater challenge because of the change of pace and the lack of visual storytelling. Thanks for listening.
I'm Tyler Hawkins.
And I'm Patrick Hickey. And you're watching The W.